Greetings everyone and a warm welcome to you. Hey, thanks for joining me for this month's prediction on the Trump series. We are going to use the Psi deck this month instead of the tarot, and I will be focusing each card on a specific point to address. So we'll see if this creates a different sort of pattern or scenario. So I'm only going to be drawing 6 cards, and I will go through what each card is as we work through them. So a little bit more shuffling, and then we will deal and see what the Trump prophecies are showing us for the month of October. So the first card dealt relates to North Korea. The second card relates to Russia. The third card relates to Iran. The fourth card relates to the sporting issues at the moment going on with America. The fifth card relates to US policies or politics. And the sixth card relates to finances. So the first card, the birth card with North Korea. Well, traditionally it's not that bad a card actually. Birth obviously means something new, so there's possibly some new talks or new pediment that goes towards North Korea from America. So when I see that card, it often has a couple of different meanings, but in the background there's a lot of water in the air, so clouds and raining, it's very wet, it looks as though it could be flooding. But it also appears that that could be a crop that's growing, so a new plant rising up and growing. So my thoughts on this could be that either there are new sanctions put on North Korea that affect their food and that they are struggling to feed their people. So possibly food is affected for someone for North Korea with, as I say, new sanctions. Or possibly there is something that happens in North Korea where there's a massive flood, or their harvests or their crops are damaged one way or another, possibly through either weather related or volcanic or earthquake, and they need help, and perhaps America goes, well, you're on your own, I'm not helping. But I think it comes back quite a lot to their food issues that America perhaps works on here for October. And I'm sort of quite intrigued about that, because at the moment we seem so close to this warring energy between America and North Korea with all the rhetoric that's going on between the two leaders. And I would have thought we were spiraling closer to that, but this card doesn't necessarily give that meaning. The only way I can get that out of it is it's the birth of perhaps a war. Now these cards are a little bit more difficult to interpret, and the meanings are still kind of growing, so there is that possibility, but it's not my first feeling. Now the next card, number 2, which is the Stranger, relates to Russia. Now that's the perfect card to turn up for Russia, because I often consider it the card of hidden agendas or communism, because of the red glove on the person hiding behind the door. So it would appear that there are still things going on between Russia and America that are being hidden behind doors, or information that's being kept from possibly each other. But often this is more about the communist end, so the Russia end doing something, as if they're holding some form of strength, or they're the ones leading a situation one way or another. Now a lot of people say, look, Russia's not communist anymore, that's fine, I'm just referring to the energy that the card gives off. So it does bode hidden stuff going on behind closed doors, so information that's not being made privy to people. It's a bit surreptitious, it's like secretive spy stuff, and it definitely feels like it's coming from the Russian end. So exactly what that's all about, I'm unsure. Again, it's like you have to kind of feel into what they could be doing, or what they could be leading into. The third card is Iran, and it's the Sage. And it often gives the feeling of a very old part of the globe, you know, with a very old knowledge from around the world. Now, the Sage card to me in the past has always referred to mathematical calculations, because that's what this guy here, the Sage, is writing in his book. He's formatting some form of mathematical calculation. And often in my mind this has always been to do with trajectories. So there's a possibility here that Iran is definitely calculating something, and I know in the latter part of September they have been talking about missiles themselves, and I think Iran does take this to the next step. I think they have taken umbrage at some of the things that were said in the latter part of September. So they are fueling themselves, and they are making sure that they are doing it with some deftness and with some accuracy. So there is something going on with Iran. In the background, these are also like bottles. It's almost like an alchemy thing. And of course, to create nuclear fusion and fission, it's through the process of alchemy, if you like. So I believe there's some nuclear activity going on there, and I think they're ramping things up. Maybe they become more of a worry than North Korea, which is quite surprising. And maybe that Russia is playing a part in here, I'm unsure. These three cards here together, very red. This one is underground hidden agenda. I often think of this as communist activity as well as this. So the reading feels as though it's got a lot of red fiery energy and communist type energy going on. But this card is number 4, which is actually about the sports issues that are going on at the moment with the NFL players that are choosing to either kneel before a game when the anthem is on, or hold their arms in solidarity. And again, just recently towards the latter end of September, there have been some really high tension words between players and Trump himself over these issues. So the beast is a very angry, and you can see that this is like a really angry tension, just roar. You don't get me any madder. So there's certainly fiery activity going on here, and it feels as though it's coming from burning from underneath. I don't think this is going to just go away as a simmering triviality. It feels like there's just going to brew and become more nasty and more bitter and more spiteful, possibly from both sides. The beast is something to be very wary of, and he can come out and he's dangerous. He's like the dragon, and the dragon can be very, very powerful and have powerful abilities. So if there's a group of people gathering with dragon energy, it can take over and inflame things and cause very hot-seated energies and issues. So I don't think that whole sporting issue is going to go away. It could flare up and it could grow and become bigger. The next one, we come here, the Union card for the US politics. And the Union card again would be considered normally a good sign, because it even has the cup down here, which is kind of like the cup of life, or the creator of life, something along those lines. It does bode, I think, quick energy. It's quite strong energy. It's forceful. It's determined. So there still feels to be a degree of strength going on there, and maybe fast-paced strength, action. But some of it feels out of control, because you see all these rocks and things in the picture. So there's a degree of, again, tempestuous energy, slightly too fast, as if things are moving too fast. Like it feels as though it might need to be slowed down somewhere in the processes. So I think things have started moving for Trump. Some of his policies seem to be coming through now. He's kind of the first few months, if you like, of his role as president, you've got to stabilise yourself and get into it all. Well, I think he has, and I think he's in here now, and he's kind of like, right, let's get into this, let's do this, let's do this, and that's the feeling here. There's a lot going on, and it's quite fast, and it's quite quick. And often when you get an energy like that, you'll get things bowled out of the way. So it's almost like he says, look, If you're not on board, get off the ship, get out of the way, because we're not stopping. So there's some fast energy there. For the finances, that's pretty good. The Sun again, one of the better cards that you could possibly pull. It does usually bode quite well. It bodes some sort of protection, but at the same time, I have always acknowledged this card to talk about the harvest time, and of course it is harvest time up there in America. And the fact that there seem to be possibly some food shortages or something about food that is, there's like, it's not necessarily that available. And remember, this is around the finances, so whether or not there are some issues with food and financial tie-ups in America, this could either be that there could be a shortage of food and it costs more to get it in, or food somehow is affiliated with the US dollar, and there could be, well, the word shortages just keeps coming to mind for some reason, and it's crops. It's like the wheat. It's like that whole Midwest part of America where all those crops are growing, and they would be coming into harvest time now. I'm wondering if something is going on there. But if we just look at it from the financial sector, it doesn't feel that bad. So I don't think the US dollar is going to plummet, direly or anything. It feels as though there is some form of exterior propping up, or just a positivity around the money. So that's an interesting set of cards for the Trump prophecies for October. The different type of card that we've used, which you get quite different messages from. It'll be interesting to see how they play out, given that each card had a set paradigm to follow. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Leave your comments. You always love to. There's always plenty of comments from this reading. So feel free to leave whatever you like. It's, as long as you're not being a bully or derogatory to other people either, you feel free to leave your political comments and your personal opinions. So thanks, guys. Take care, everyone. Be safe.